Right. Da, da, da. Here we go then. Who we got watching? We got anyone watching? No, I don't want that one. We should be. That's it. Constitution. Oh. We're going to be talking about the laws of England that govern, that basically restrain the crown. If you're interested, jump in whilst use lot jumping in. I'm just going to be doing some stuff. Hang on a sec. Hang on. Oh yeah, baby. Hello guys and girls. How are we doing? Someone at Margate. Who's that in Margate? It's not my missus. 2 seconds. I'll be with you in a second. Hurrah! Fish and chips, nights and some tins. Oh, I say that sounds lovely. I'm on my way. Who's at the gate? Sorry, peeps, I'm just watching my security cameras. I think someone's come to pick up some manure or something. I'm not sure, but there's a motor at my gate, and I don't know who it is. It's not my missus, is it? Is it my missus? No. Oh, it is. She's home early. Is that someone at me gate? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, she'll be in a second, I think. No. Someone dropping something off. There they're going. Delivery service. It's quite happy having security cameras. Thing is, though, we shouldn't have to live like this, to be fair. It's a delivery driver of some sort. Popped up some Hermes deliveries or whatever. People, we're here. Can I have some fish and chips? Let's have some fish and chips. Hang on, let's get the vibe up, Peach. Come on. Yeah, baby. Let's get the vibes going. Oh, yeah. Ha! How are we doing this afternoon? Are we all right? Jacqueline Jones? How are we doing? Oh, yeah. So we're going to be chatting today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be chatting about our history, which is being erased. And it's being erased rather fast. All right? And we've got to be very careful. It's just a beautiful tune, that, isn't it? Hey? You enjoyed yourselves? Here we go. Oh, yeah. Anyway, righto. Let's get on with the afternoon show. How are we doing? Let's see a big high fives there, people. It's lovely to see you. We're going to be chatting about this country this afternoon, what's going on, and our protections as the people, all right? Because we are the people. Now, I've just been out and seen a guy who lives around the corner from me. He is, he don't look it. He's 70 years of age, or just coming up for. And he grew up in the same neck of the woods that I grew up in. And he's saying to me, he said, there's a groundswell in this country. He said, people have had enough. He said, government are playing a very dangerous game right now. He said, the Queen needs to step up and dissolve Parliament and get the army in. She said, and have the army sworn to the oath to the Queen, and we'll get all this lot sorted out. He said, but she absolutely needs to step up now and sort this out, dissolve Parliament, and we'll all get behind her, eh? Should we all get behind the Queen? Because the Queen is the head of the country, right? I don't like using the word state, but this country's England, all right? Now, England has been founded on greatness for many years, but we're descending into some sort of chaos now. Before we lose all of our greatness, and I do believe we could be at a point in time where that could happen. I really do believe. It's funny, isn't it? We're in really funny times, right? Really funny times. Unlawful action of Public Health England. Well, I don't listen. See, the problem is, I tell you, it's growing, isn't it? I need it cut. When we listen to these people, and we it's like Dick Whittington, isn't it? It's like we're all being piped up. We've forgotten how to just be ourselves. Do you know what I mean? And to run our own lives, and to gauge our own lives, and to protect our own families. That's how we used to be. Giuseppe De Angelis, beautiful name there, son. Beautiful name. That's the Italian massive kicking in there. I'm loving that. I'm part Italian. I info in Trick Live use blood tests to without consent individual for testing. We should not listen, ladies and gentlemen. You should not be compelled to do anything in this country. No, if it goes against your wish, can't be done. It can't be, can it? Do you know what I mean? It's just wrong. Hello, mate. Cockerwinkle Spangle. Beautiful words there from my good mate Zevi Zircon. What is going on, man? But no, Giuseppe, lovely to see you. I'm just going to pop you back up there again. Oh, hello. It's lovely to see you. So, we're going to be getting some nuts and bolts, Pete. We're going to be talking about Alfred the Great. We're going to be talking about the Bill of Rights, the Petition of Rights. We're living in a country run by communist Marxists, all right? And that's what happens when statutes get taken down. They whip up a frenzy, and they whip it up in the people. They're very clever. Cultural Marxism, the Fabians, they're clever. They know how to pull your strings. They know how to pull your levers. And that's all that's happened around the world since this George Floyd thing, is that they've been pulling your levers. All right. Hello, Durfee. Hello, Goulds. Lovely to see you. I had to leave Daddy Dragon's show last night. I should watch it a bit later because I had such a mad migraine last night. It was so bad, my migraine last night. It was unbelievable. My head was just spanned, and my hands felt so weird, man. I was like, it was really weird. But fortunately today we're still alive. I'm still here to tell the tale. But last night, my God, I've never had a migraine like that. I thought my head was going to explode. It was disgraceful. But there you go. I'm still here. They got a tough job getting rid of me, for sure. So don't forget and share and like to help build the channel. Fantastic, gorgeous, Durf, proper patriot, as you can see. It's called St. George Flagger. So we're going to start off with, where do our ancient laws and customs come from, right? Because the state can't take away what's been duly established, all right? They can't. They're not allowed to. And it's a very overreaching thing, is all of the stuff that was laid down by our ancestors. Now, why did our ancestors lay down all these things? Because they knew that one day we would need it, that we would need the protection of it, all right? So we're going to have a brief overview today of constitutional law. What is constitutional law? What was this country before we ended up into this cultural Marxist kind of system where all of our rights have been eroded, right? I guess you'll pretty much agree that your rights are just disappearing, and that the police are overstepping their mark, and they're not at the rule of law. And the rule of law is where we need to be at, ladies and gentlemen. That's what the Queen needs to do. The Queen needs to step up, dissolve Parliament, and bring everyone back to the rule of law. right? And that don't mean nothing would change. Nothing would change. You're still going to get your eggs and bacons. You're still going to be able to do whatever it is you want to do in your life, right? But she reinstates the rule of law. She says, right, parliamentarians have been suspended. You can all fuck off because you've ruined my country. And they have proper smashed it. And Her Majesty's not been vigilant, unfortunately. Not been vigilant, because while she's living in opulence, we are all having the bejesus kicked out of us, right? And we've seen this in previous monarchs and previous time periods where that exact same thing's happened, and it always culminates in a bit of a kickback, and that's what we're going to be seeing. Tomorrow is going to be very, very pivotal in our future. Tomorrow is it could be a D-Day. You've got good souls going up there to protect all the monuments and statues and try and keep some sense of decency. And you're going to have a lot of the retards and millennials up there trying to cause chaos, harm constables of the law, harming horses, etc., etc., etc. And that's not what we need to do. What we need to do is we need to turn out in mass numbers of people, right? All nicely dressed. If you can put a shirt and a tie on, some people say the tie is all about bondage, whatever. Shirt and a tie, nice jacket, pair of Italian stallion shoes. Maybe Giuseppe can supply the shoes. Don't know if you've got any cobblers in the family. Funnily enough, I went to a cobbler's years ago and dropped off. I went in and see him, and I said, that was Italian run. I said, I bought a pair of shoes in here 20 years ago. I says, I forgot about them. I said, but I've come in. Here's the ticket. I said, and we're having a chance. And the cobbler said to me, he said, no, you brought shoes in here 20 years ago and you expect me to still have them? So he goes down, he finds them, he pulls them out. He says, yeah, in luck, we still got the shoes. He said, they'll be ready on Wednesday. So, yeah, it was funny. So, right, you're going to see sparks fly tomorrow. Am I going to London? Not a chance. No, it's a setup. Tomorrow's a setup. Tomorrow is a massive setup. Trust me, tomorrow is a setup. It really is. Brie Gateful on the contract with Event 202, much respect. Yes, Daniel Mullins, yeah, the 202 is going very, very good. TR, I've got big suspicions about TR people. I don't think he's who you think he is, but that's just my own personal opinion. To me, he is setting people up for a fall. I don't want that. No, we don't need to do that because we've got the rule of law, right? We've got our constitutional laws already in place. That's the protection. The hard work's already done. Our ancestors did all the hard work, okay, to protect us. And that's what we need to use. But what we need is loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of good, solid people that are coming together under the Constitution and the rule of law, and we can go and take back our country. If you've got 500,000 people all nicely smart, not making too much of a noise, we take our country back, end of. And we say to our politicians, do your fucking job. Wind your neck in, get back in your box. Back to the rule of law. We don't even have to swap them out. We just have to get them to go back to the rule of law. That's it. There's no new system. We don't need to do away with the old to bring in a new. We just need to get them back to the rule of law. That's it. Period. We've done it before. We're going to do it again, ladies and gentlemen. We're all going to do this together. So the rule of law is that the scales are balanced out in favour 50-50 between the system, the judiciary, the courts, and the people of this land. The Constitution is the solution. Now, I know Graham Moore very, very well. Graham's a very good buddy of mine, right? And I know who he is. I know what he's doing. He's amazing. And he always stood out for me as someone solid, someone that weren't for turning, that can't be taken. He's just a true patriot, and you all need to start becoming that way because you're losing your freedoms. They're bringing in this Marxist communistic system where they're getting rid of all your history, all your rights, all your common law. They're trying to get rid of it all, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a real tough time. But fortunately for us, our ancestors did stuff that even these fuckers can't play with. No cultural Marxist or fascist in government or socialist can play with our English law. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. Yeah, Graham's a good dude. I've had many a great day with Graham. He's a top boy. The Constitution is the solution, as Daddy Dragon would say. Amen. Now, I might have to go and dig out my Dragon T-shirts. The Dragons was a light over the dark. It was a good thing, but it got infiltrated and it turned quite nasty. Many people that took on positions and roles have all stood down. And in truth, it's a fucking shame. It is a shame. It was portrayed to be a racist movement. Well, a white dragon on a black background is nothing more than that. And it's the original flag of Alfred. All right. We're going to start with Alfred in a second. If you join the English Democrats, you can too meet Graham. Yeah, Graham's a good boy. Love him to pieces. So the Dragon movement started with this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to full screen. And hopefully I can see, you'll be able to see what I can see. Now, if you fall asleep, peeps, just chuck some stuff up in the comments and I'll come back to you. All right. So what happened was, right, Alfred is the only king in history that has ever been referred to as great. There has been no other king nor queen that has ever been referred to as great. Okay. So we're going to look into the bones of what Alfred started and what Alfred did that kind of got us into this one nation under God. Okay. Because at the time, England was carved up into different sections. Wessex, there was so many different parts of the country. But Alfred, on the invasion of the Vikings, when Ethelred and that decided to turn up in this country, Alfred brought all the kingdoms together under God. And Alfred was the king of Wessex, okay? Alfred the Great, Old English, 847 to 849 to the 26th of October, 899, was king of Wessex from 871 to 886, and king of the Anglo-Saxons from 886 to 899. He was the youngest king of Ethelwulf of Wessex, okay? His father died when he was young, and three of Alfred's brothers, after ascending, what you've got to understand about Alfred is he wasn't a well man. He suffered badly with health. There wasn't a lot of him, but let me tell you, it didn't matter, because the way he stood in stature and the honour and that this man had was something else, hence why he was called great. So after ascending to the throne, Alfred spent several years with fighting Viking invasions. He won a decisive victory in the Battle of Edington in 878. They changed all their tactics. And what Alfred did, he made an agreement with the Vikings. So the Vikings actually assimilated with us, the peoples of this country, creating what was known as the Danelaw in the north of England. Alfred also oversaw the conversion of Viking king leader Guthrum to Christianity. Guthrum, who worshipped Odin and all these other Viking gods, turned to Christianity and was christened in a lake in this country. He was baptized. He defended his kingdom against the Viking attempt and conquest, becoming the dominant ruler in England. Details of his life are described in his work by the 9th century Welsh scholar and bishop. Alfred had a reputation as a learned and merciful man, right? Beautiful. Now, he was learned. What does that mean? It means that he had wisdom, that he had honor, that he knew what was going on. And he used the Bible. He was a scholar of the Bible. He used God's law to bring this about. And they've always said that England had God on its side. All right. They said, well, why did we win the war as well? Because England's got God on its side. I defy to say that we have God on our side right now. I do as an individual, but as a country, we certainly don't, because we've had cultural Marxists come in and take us off of God's law and bring us into this slavery-based system that many can now see. I'm very pleased to say that many people in this country can now see that what's all gone wrong. So he defended the kingdom against Viking attempts at conquest, becoming the dominant ruler. After he had a learned and merciful, with a gracious and level-headed nature, who encouraged education, proposing that primary education be conducted in Anglo-Saxon rather than Latin, and improving the legal system and military structure. Now, I don't think it would have been a legal system back then. I question that why Wikipedia have put this word in. I don't think that word legal would have been around back then. That's just my personal opinion. Back in 886, I'm not too sure that the word legal would have been thrown about too often, because we was one nation together under God. Now, God don't mention legal in any of his texts. System and military structures, and the people's quality of life. Now, how was lovely that? He was interested in people's quality of life. He was given the epithet the Great during and after the Reformation in the 16th century, and alongside the Danish Canute the Great, remains the only king of England to be ever given such graciousness. Alfred, he had a thing called the Book of Dom. Okay, that's what he left us, and it is the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. It is the beginning of our law, our common law, etc., etc. All right. So Alfred was the Great, and he was the only individual to be called that. So let's see what else we've got. So then along in 1100, the history of England, this is the Charter of Liberties of Henry I in 1100. The Charter of Liberties is another very, very, very historical, important document to us, the people of England. The English have an unwritten constitution, okay? The Americans have a codified constitution, but the American constitution is taken from our uncodified constitution. Our uncodified constitution, as much as it is written in the hearts and minds of good men and women. That's what the common law is. That's why we used to face jury trials and juries of our peers. The Charter of Liberties of Henry I. Henry arrived on the throne very unsure of himself and his rights because of the claims of his elder brother. So his charter is more specific than many others, and looks to win support by reversing bad practices by his brother William Rufus, who was a bit of a bastard. He was made when king. Much of it reads like Magna Carta, and this coronation charter effectively forms the basis of the Great Charter. Okay, so Henry I bought he whacked in the Charter of Liberties, and don't forget, this is all forevermore, and this is what we have to be mindful of now. Okay, because we can't let our cultural Marxists fucking take it away from us, and they can't. They can't touch this stuff. They know this. They know this. So, know that by the mercy of God and the common counsel of the barons of the kingdom of England, I have been crowned king of said kingdom. And because the kingdom has been oppressed by unjust exactions, I, through fear of God, oh, that's a beautiful thing, and the love which I have towards you all, in the first place, make the holy church of God free, so that I will never sell nor put to farm, nor to the death of the archbishop or bishops of abbots will I take anything from the church's demesnes or from its men until the successor shall enter it. And I take away all the evil customs by which the kingdom of England was unjustly oppressed, which evil customs I have here set down in order. This is beautiful, man. This is really, really, really just beautiful. So this is the Charter of Liberties of 1100, and it's written in exactly the same ethos as of Alfred the Great's law. It's all done with God and what's right, and with the people in mind. This one's quite interesting. I forgive all murders committed before the day I was crowned, and those who shall be committed in the future shall be justly compensated according to the law of King Edward. On the common consent of my barons, I have kept in my hands forests as my father had them. Guys, we got to get back to some decency, right? Now, our constitution and our rule of law is what this is all based off. Okay, now I am in essence a man living in England. First and foremost, God first, then man, and then law and government come sliding down the scales after that. Okay, so this is the Charter of Liberties of 1100. Now, this one is Liberties of the Subject Act. Now, I spoke about that earlier today in a previous video that I did regarding a black guy called Somerset, who was bound and was off to Americas. He was in the bottom of a ship in England, and he was due to be going to America to be played into the slave trade. Now, it was actually this Act of Parliament that saved him. All right, this Act of Parliament saved him because someone see Somerset in the belly of the boat and decided that it wasn't proper and it wasn't our way, the English way, okay, because we had the rule of law and we had God's law. So they took to Parliament under the Liberty of the Subject Act of 1354, and they petitioned the Lords and the Peers that the man there was a petition that affected the liberty of the subject, and Somerset was freed, and the boat returned to the Americas, and the slave owner that was going to be receiving the boat was very, very cheesed off. But what did it do? The Liberty of the Subjects Act and what happened to Somerset pretty much lit the fuse for the end and the abolition of slavery. Okay. Now, what it says in this act is that none shall be condemned without due process of the law, that no man of what estate or condition that he may be shall be put out of land or tenement, nor taken, nor imprisoned, nor disinherited, or put to death without being brought in answer by due process of the law. Now, I ask you all, do we have in this country right now due process of law? And I would say that you're going to say no. Now, due process of law has nothing to do with money, okay? It has nothing to do with a legal system. It has nothing to do with paying a solicitor £1,000 to get a divorce done for you, okay? Due process of law is free, okay? It's not a monetary attachment, because the minute that you bring money involved in law, guess what? You get corruption. You get bias, you get corruption, and then you start getting into despotism. And we certainly are in despotism. Now, this Liberty of the Subjects Act is what freed Somerset, okay? Now, let's have a quick look, actually, on Somerset. Let's have a look. Somerset the slave. Somerset slavery case. So let's have a quick look. So this was against the Stuarts. This was in right. So Somerset versus Stuart, 1772, also known as the Somerset case, and in state trials, Somerset versus Stuart, is the famous judgment of the Court of King's Bench, right, in 1772 on labour law and human rights, which held that chattel slavery was unsupported by the common law in England and Wales, although the position elsewhere in the British Empire was ambiguous. Lord Mansfield decided that the state of slavery is of such a nature that it is incapable of being introduced on any reason, moral or political, but only by positive law, statute, which preserves its force long after the reasons, occasions, and times itself from whence it was created is erased from memory. It is so odious that nothing can be suffered to support it but positive law. What inconveniences, therefore, may follow from that decision, I cannot say this case is allowed or approved by the law of England, and therefore the black must be discharged. That is the summary judgment, or the verdict, or the whatever it is, that the judge, Lord Mansfield, decided that he must be freed. Okay? Now, slavery had never been authorised by statute in England and Wales. Lord Mansfield's decision found it also unsupported in common law. Lord Mansfield narrowly limited his judgment to the issue of whether a person, regardless of being slave, could be removed from England against his will, and said that he could not, that the decision was that property rights in chattel slaves were unsupported by common law. So that's the only reason that Somerset never went to America. It wasn't the fact that the guy in America had the rights to have a chattel slave. It was because it was unsupported by the common law. Okay? Some historians believe that the case contributed to increasing colonial support for separatism in the 13 colonies of British North America. But both parties on both sides of the slavery question who wanted to establish independent government law, the southern colonies wanted to protect slavery and expand their territories dramatically in this after the independence was won. So that's Somerset. Okay, that is this man here was in chains. He was on a boat bound to go to America from this country. Now, whether that boat was passing through and was popping and dropping off to get provisions and water, etc., I don't know. I don't know why the vessel was in dock in this country. However, someone of spirit see that this man was bound in chains, and he knew within himself that it went against our belief system in this country, and that's why they issued a petition that affected the liberty of the subject. Okay, so it's very, very powerful. Our acts of not acts of, but our law, our constitutional law, was the only thing really that freed that man. Okay, so then we go to let's just come back in here. Let's share you up a bit. Let's see some comments. Non-violent, just united. The globalist British. Hang on, I'm just going to turn the heater off. It's getting warm in here. Woo! I'm sweating up now. I've got an electric heater in here. I'll just fire on. It's getting too hot, so let's turn him off. I produce my own electric, guys. I've got thousands of solar panels. It's pretty good. I'm lucky like that. Their globally biggest fear is the people knowing 60% of the people in the British Isles are English. 19%. Yeah, we're English. We're English. If you're born here, you're English. Yeah? We're not British. We're English. I'm English. Well, I'm a man first, but I live in England, so I'm fucking right. I'm an Englishman. And we should be proud, people. We should be proud to be English. We should be proud to live in this great country. So how do we get this back? Right, so we have to go and be asserting, Trev, and we have to implement the rule of law, and we have to get our people of Parliament to stop all their nonsense and come back to the rule of law. Boris Johnson, on his very first address to this country, said we're a nation under common law and habeas corpus, right? So let's have a look at habeas corpus. Habeas corpus, okay? So let's have a look. Can you still see? I think you can. Can you still see this? No, you can't. So let's have a quick look. Yeah, you can see this. You can. So the Habeas Corpus Act of 1679 is an act of Parliament in England, all right? During the reign of King Charles II, it was passed that what became known as the Habeas Corpus Parliament to define the stretchation prerogative writ of habeas corpus. So habeas corpus has been enacted, but when it was brought out, it wasn't an act. It's only that government have enacted it. But it's a prerogative writ, okay? This is what we should be looking at. Habeas corpus. I didn't really want to do that, did I? Let's just go back here. Hang on. Yeah, jump up. You come up with text. Habeas corpus is a recourse in law through which a person can report an unlawful detention or imprisonment to a court and request that the court order the custodian of the person, usually a prison official, to bring the prisoner to court to determine whether the detention is lawful. And that still applies today. Okay. But I think back in the day when all this was properly put together, it wouldn't address personage. I think it would have been on the man and the woman. Okay. So habeas corpus is a prerogative writ. If they don't produce the body within 24 hours to prove that the detention is lawful, well, you become king and queen, because that's what the prerogative writ is, right? It says it quite clearly here. It is a prerogative writ. So all we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen, is bringing you information and history so that you know your rights. So you've had the Charter of Liberties, the Petition of Rights, the habeas corpus, the rule of law. We're going to be going through all this today because it's time that people realised what this country is, what we live under, what laws limit the Crown. And this limits the Crown. This isn't written for me. This is what limits the Crown. Okay, it stops the Crown from getting out of its bed. So the Act is wrongly described as the origins of the writ of habeas corpus, but the writ of habeas corpus has existed in various forms in England for at least 5 centuries before it is thought to have originated in the 12th century, right? It was guaranteed but not created by Magna Carta 1215, all right? So the Magna Carta 1215 was signed and sealed at Runnymede by John, who had a knife at his throat. I personally don't believe that the Magna Carta 1215 is what we should be using, and I'm going to get into the nuts and bolts of that in a minute, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why I don't think 1215 Magna Carta is the charter that we should be using, that was written to limit the Crown. It wasn't written to limit the people. The people are free. We're born free under God. These things were put in place to limit the Crown. Okay, so Runnymede, that's basically what it's saying, is that the writ of habeas corpus comes from Magna Carta, so which Article 39 says, no free man shall be taken or imprisoned or deceased or exiled or in any way destroyed, nor will we go upon him, nor will we send upon him except under lawful judgment of his peers or of the laws of the land. There's quite a few habeas corpus. There's quite a few. But because we got this cultural Marxist, communistic, fascist, socialistic system, it's being ignored and they're trying to erase it. And the reason why all this nutcase stuff is pulling down statues and getting rid of all these TV programs is because we're not at the rule of law no more. Okay? We are a nation at the rule of law, but the system is trying its hardest to destroy this country, and it's all coming from the inside, people. This is all organised by the Crown. All this disruption in America and in this country is all being planned out by high-wigs in the system, the George Soroses, the deep state cabal, which, in fact, President Trump, I do believe, is trying to clean up quickly. I think President Trump is cleaning the deep state cabal out. I really do. So that's a writ of habeas corpus. That is part of the constitutional arrangements of this great country. Okay, you should be printing these off. You should be making notes. You should be making sure that you know who you are and the country that you live in. So we've already done Alfred. So we're going to go to the Petition of Rights. Okay. So the Petition of Rights is a constitutional document created in 1628. Now, these are forevermore. They're not until someone in Parliament comes along and decides to try and walk over the rights, the Petition of Rights. They can't do it. So the Petition of Rights, passed on the 7th of June 1628, is an English constitutional document setting out specific individual protections against the state. So it's not labelling our rights, it's saying what protections it's providing against the tyrannous state. It's not for us. These are not for us. We can't use these. But what we can do is use them and hold them against the system and say, excuse me, you're going against the Petition of Rights. You're going against the Bill of Rights. You're going against the Magna Carta. You're committing treason right now. Watch them run. Watch them run. As God is my witness, watch them run. Just watch them run. No, we offer no evidence. No, all our cameras are off. Why? Because we hold their feet to the fire. That's all we have to do. Because this is England. This is a land of a common law jurisdiction. We are not a communist country. We don't have cultural Marxists running this country. This is England. This is a land of common law jurisdiction with a monarchy and the rule of law. That's it. And that's what we should be saying to these people. Why are you violating this petition of rights? Whoever give you the right to deny me, the man or the woman, this which regulates you? Okay? So this gives individual protections against the state reported to equal the value of Magna Carta and the Bill of Rights 1689. It was part of a wider conflict between Parliament and the Stuart monarchy. There's always been battles between parliamentarians and monarchs. There's just always been that. And we have a queen in Parliament and we had a king in Parliament. But and that was due to wars. We had wars over this stuff. We did. There was wars over Charles himself, Charles II, I think it was, or Charles I. No, Charles I, I think. There was a war. There was civil wars going on. Here we go. It led to the 1651 War of the Three Kingdoms, ultimately resolved in the Glorious Revolution. So the Glorious Revolution was the disposition and replacement of James II as rulers of England, Scotland and Ireland by his daughter Mary II and the Dutch newly William. So William and Mary, when they got on the throne, they brought in the Glorious Revolution of 1688, which is the Bill of Rights. No one can take that away. No government can take it away. No council can take that away. No dodgy judge or copper can take this away. This is your inheritance. It's ours, people. It's for us to use to hold the state to say, well, what you fucking playing at? Okay, so it was after war in Three Kingdoms of 1651, ultimately resolved in the Glorious Revolution. So that's what the Petition of Rights was. These implemented king or state could deprive any individual of property or freedom. We've got the state now nicking our homes, nicking our cars, nicking our children. Please tell me you don't see this as socialism and communism. But England's not like that. Commons Committee prepared for resolutions declaring that all is illegal while reaffirming Magna Carta and habeas corpus. So that's what they did in the Glorious Revolution. They reaffirmed Magna Carta and habeas corpus. That's what we have to do because we're in a constitutional crisis. In political science, a constitutional crisis is a problem or conflict in the function of a government that, as the political constitution or other fundamental governing laws perceived to be unable to resolve. There are several variations of this definition. For instance, one describes it as a crisis. Look, we're in a crisis. We're in a constitutional crisis. This country, tomorrow, with the veterans and the bikers protecting all the statues and protecting all the coppers in London, with these retards wanting to go up and have a fight and kill horses, that's a constitutional crisis. Massive constitutional crisis. So what do I advocate? I advocate the rule of law. I advocate we need to get back to the rule of law. We have to hold our politicians and say, right, back to the rule of law. Get these bloody gates down, get them opened up, stand your bullies down with machine guns, because when you've got bullies there with machine guns at Downing Street, they're laughing at all of your bloodshed. That's exactly what they're doing. They're laughing at us. They're laughing at the bloodshed. Trust me. They really are. They're laughing at the bloodshed. So, tomorrow's going to be very, very, very interesting. It is time we unite and made formal representations. He's got absolutely right, Kerry. That's a beautiful comment right there. Let me tell you. UK media, that only applies to living men and women, not those lost at sea. Amen. Yeah, amen. So we need to rise. We need to come back into land of living. How do we come back into land of living? We do ecclesiastical deed polls. We do evidence of life. And we start speaking like sovereign men and women. We don't have owners. We don't have bosses. Someone tells you to form a queue, walk a certain way, turn the fuck off. Say this is England, cheeky bastard. Who do you think you're talking to? That power that you emanate from inside you, these people back then, they go, fucking hell. Yes, sir, please, sir, please. Do you mind if I go and queue over there for my groceries this week, please? Do you mind? When did we become a nation of fucking beggars? Excuse my French. Tomorrow's a trap, let me tell you. You're right, Paul. Because it's not being done the right way. We need to reassert the rule of law. That's all we need to do. Tom Bingham, master of the rolls. All right? Tom Bingham, master of the rolls. That's all we need to do is re-implement the rule of law. That's it. We've got John Bingley. We've got John Hurst, former copper John Hurst. I think John Hurst has got a lot to do with the Chartists and stuff like that. But John Hurst is a proper copper, or was a proper copper, and is a constitutional man that understands what the rule of law is, and he would know exactly how to get us back to the rule of law. We need the veterans to stand up. We need our army to stand up. We need our Queen to certainly fucking stand up. They're not our masters. The government is not our masters. They are our servants. Do you understand? They really, really, really are our servants. And we need to come back to some good stuff, man. Let me tell you. So, here we go. Bill of Rights. This is what Graham used, Daddy Dragon used in his defence when he was asked, there's William and Mary, loving them wigs. Them wigs look a bit... Do you know they used to dye their hair with urine? Did you know that? Yeah. Elizabeth I, I do believe, to get her red hair, she used to have her hair all laid in urine, and it used to make it go that funny red colour. And she was a weird-looking fucking woman, let me tell you. This is the Bill of Rights, an act declaring the rights and liberties of the subjects and settling the succession of the crown. The Bill of Rights, 1689, is an iron gall ink manuscript on parchment. It is an original act of the English Parliament. English Parliament! Not British Parliament. English. They hate us using that word, ladies and gentlemen. They hate the fact that we've got an English football team. They despise that. They don't want you knowing England. They don't want you knowing your rights. That way they're not winning. The cultural Marxists can't win when you know about English Parliament and English Bill of Rights that were written in perpetuity forever and ever. They don't like it. And you will win all the time because they can't go against this. It is an act of Parliament, been in the custody of Parliament since its creation. The bill firmly established. Now, Betty Boothroyd, when Betty Boothroyd was in the Houses of Commons as the the Speaker of the House, she reminded them that the Bill of Rights was still in full force. She reminded everybody in that building that the Bill of Rights was in full force. Okay? And that weren't that long ago. God bless you, Betty. So, the bill firmly established the principles of frequent parliaments, free elections and freedom of speech, right, within Parliament, known today as parliamentary privilege. Well, they're doing more than privilege. They fucking own you all now. It also includes no right of taxation without Parliament's agreement, freedom from government interference. Cool, that's lovely, isn't it? Freedom from government interference. Beautiful. The right of petition and just treatment of people by the courts. Well, do you honestly believe you're getting just treatment by the people of the courts? Not a chance. The main principles of the Bill of Rights are still in force today, particularly being cited in legal cases, and was used as a role model in the US Bill of Rights of 1789. Its influences can also be seen in other documents established the rights of humans, such as the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, and the European Convention of Human Rights. Now, your convention rights are not your rights. They what limit the Crown. And a friend of mine was in a police station a few years ago getting a bit bullied, and he turned around and said to him, you're breaching the convention rights here. You do know that. And they backed off, just left them alone. They just backed off. We now have constables holding your thumb down on that thing so they can take your fingerprint. If they have to break your thumb, they'll break your fucking thumb. That goes against the Bill of Rights. That goes against English law. It's foreign law. It doesn't sit well in this country. We need to get back to proper. So that's the Bill of Rights, and a fantastic thing it is as well. It's good. It's good. But you should know, because it means then you've not got to fight your own battles, okay? Because this is what limits the Crown. They've just turned us into slaves, people, and we need to sort this one out. So anyway, that's the Bill of Rights. Now, I quite like this. I want to explain a few things about this as well. This is the Magna Carta 1217, right? Now, William the Marshal. Let's have a look at William the Marshal, okay? William the Marshal, first Earl of Pembroke. Let's have a look at William the Marshal, okay? William the Marshal was the first Earl of Pembroke, also called William the Marshal Norman French. He spent a lot of time in France. He was an Anglo-Norman soldier and statesman. He served 5 English kings, all right? Henry II, his sons, the young king, Henry, Richard I, John, and his John's son, Henry III. Now, Henry was only young, okay? He didn't reach the age of majority, so William the Marshal was regent to the king, okay? So basically, William the Marshal run this country for a long time. This is his sarcophagus in London. Let me just, I'm going to put this in full screen. I wanted to show you this a bit close up. This is William the Marshal. Now, he is buried in the Temple Church in London, okay? And there's a glass box over the top of him, and I went and see him about 4 years ago. And I walked into the Temple Church, and this woman there, she said, "Oh, it's £5, please." I went, "Excuse me, I'm on a pilgrimage here today." And she went, "Oh, okay." I said, "I've come to pay my respects to Earl Marshal." And she said, "Straight through." And I just went through. But what it was, I held my hands above this man's sarcophagus, and all the hairs on my arms just stood upright, pointing to the sky. I'm like, oh, I could feel this energy coming from the effigy of William the Marshal. Now, the Temple Church was built in 1100s and something, I do believe. And the stone that built this church was brought over from Jerusalem. I think it's built from Jerusalem stone. The original church was there. I think it's the roundel, the round part of the Temple Church. Now, what you got to understand about the Temple Church, this guy here is part of the Da Vinci Code. If you've seen the film Da Vinci Code, a lot of that was filmed in the Temple Church in London with Hangman Hanks, all right? They call him Hangman Hanks in certain kiddie fiddling circles. And not William the Marshal. This man had honour. This man had valour. He had all the attributes of just greatness. And he's part of the Da Vinci Code. If you want to figure out the Da Vinci Code, this guy's part of it. So what he did, he got everyone to come together because he was regent to King Henry III, okay, who was King of England, Lord of Ireland, and Duke of Aquitaine from 1216 until his death, son of King John and Isabella, and Henry assumed the throne when he was only 9 in the middle of the First Barons' War. So he was only 9, and that's why William the Marshal was regent to the king. Before him, his father's family held an hereditary title of Marshal to the king, which by his father's time had been recognised as a chief of master marshalry. So when you talk about martial law that the police implement, well, this guy wouldn't have took a knee. Only in the presence of God would he have took a knee. But martial law when they talk about martial law, this is where it comes from, okay? Because he was the one that implemented martial law. He was involved in management over the marshals and functionaries. William became known as the Marshal, although by his time, much of the function was delegated to more specialised representatives. But he was the first Earl of Pembroke. We know him as Earl Marshal. And this guy did a lot of amazing things. He was a Knight of the Realm. He was a Knight. He was a Templar. And he was huge. He was considered at the time, he lived until he was 70, which was unheard of back then, and he was a giant. He went into battle, and his man that was suited and booted him had to call him back because he didn't have his helmet on. He just rode into battle. He was a right proper hero of the time, Earl Marshal. Okay. Like this later become established hereditary title in the English period. So Earl Marshal is probably England's greatest ever man, as far as I'm concerned. Most people call a guy called Thomas More quite influential as one of England's greatest men, but no, not for me. Earl Marshal certainly wins that. So Earl Marshal is massively tied in to this. He's massively tied into this Magna Carta, the second charter of King Henry III, granted November the 6th, AD 1217, in the second year of his reign. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to get into some texts, okay? We're going to get into the text and the nuts and bolts of this. So this was signed and sealed by, you're going to see Marshal pop up in here, I'm sure. Here we go. Henry, by the grace of God, King of England, Lord of Ireland, of Normandy and Aquitaine, and Earl of Agen, to the archbishops, bishops, abbots, blah, 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 and all bailiffs and his faithful subjects who see their present charters, greeting. Know ye that in the presence of God and for the salvation of our own soul and of the souls of our ancestors and of our successors, and we are successors to these people, to the exaltation of the Holy Church and the amendment of our kingdom we grant, and by this present charter we have confirmed for it and all our heirs forever, by the council of our venerable fathers, the Lord Gualio, entered as cardinal priest of St. Martin, legate of the Apostolic See, the Lord Walter, Archbishop of York, William, Bishop of London, and other bishops of England, and William Marshal, Earl of Pembroke, guardian of us all in our kingdom, and others of our faithful earls and barons of England, these underwritten liberties to be held in our rule of England. What's this say here, ladies and gentlemen? Does it say forever? Oh, it says forever. Okay, and that's the power in this. In the first place, we grant unto God by his present charter, we have confirmed to us as heirs that the English church shall be free and shall have her own rights and liberties inviolable, which means no one can piss on her cornflakes. So here we have all of the bits and bobs that were signed and sealed. Now, why I think this is the great charter out of all four Magna Cartas, there was four. Okay, there was 1215, which was annulled by Pope. 1217, which is part of the Da Vinci Code. Trust me, and it should be the only charter you really want to use. Then you had the Magna Carta, because they got into the swing of it, of 1225, and then you had the last one in 1297. Okay, but this is the one that was written with God's grace and with everyone's agreement. The church, the estates, and the monarch all come together for this charter and signed and sealed it, and Earl Marshal sealed it with his ring. And as you can clearly see here, it says forever. It doesn't say until the cultural Marxists come along and decide to piss all over your customs, your traditions, your heritage, your life, what you know to be a given. There's a lot of comfort taken from knowing where you are, who you are, what country you live in, and what you're subject to. Okay? That is a lot of comfort taken from that, knowing that England is England. It is under the rule of law. There are sanctions against the state for interfering with men and women. However, they took men and women off the playing field, and they did it by this. we might as well get into the nuts and bolts of this today, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm just waiting to get to the local courts when they stop having corona juice fever, and I'm going to be serving this up. Now, this is the birth certificate, and this is what took us all off the land and placed us in the land of fictions, all right? Because we all took something that wasn't ours. And if you see that little crown on the top there, that crown on the top is the second coming of Jesus Christ, okay? But we took this and it wasn't ours to take, okay? So mine is being returned along with an evidence of life and ecclesiastical deed poll. And then we'll all, if we all did this today, we'll all be back under the liberties and customs and laws of this great nation, okay? Now, we're coming under tough times, ladies and gentlemen. There are really weird things going on out there right now. We have statues being taken down. We have TV programs being taken off the TV, which has been part of our customs and history and heritages for many, many years. And you have to question why. Why? I just don't understand it. So the only thing that we have that will protect us is the Constitution, okay? Because our ancestors enshrined this. They enshrined it in the rule of law via all of the documents, and there are more. There are far more. But the documents that we've covered here today and that we've gone through are what make up the constitutional law of this country, because we are uncodified. The Americans are codified, okay? Now, if you stuck this to your chief constable, you'll bring your chief constable out of statute law and you'll get him to revert back to common law. Why? Because he has to go with this. He has to go with the laws of England, because constitutional law is stronger than statute and they can't interfere with this. The minute that you bring them all into alignment of, well, you know, you're messing with the Magna Cartas, the Petition of Rights, the Bill of Rights, the Liberty, Charter of Liberties, and the liberty of the subject, then they're going to start going, oh, hello. Someone knows who they are. Someone knows what the laws of this land are. And that's what we need to do. Take claim of your fictional name. That's a beautiful rhyme in there, my son. Take claim of your fictional name under the EDP and EOL. I am loving that. If anybody wants PDF files of their of an EDP, ecclesiastical deed poll, and evidence of life, let us know in this comment box, and one or two of us will grab your emails and we will forward you PDF files and we'll show you how to fill them out. All right. Now, what's fairer than that? And then all you've got to do is go down to your local court, file them in with the court's office, and then within 9 weeks, every court in the land knows what's gone on, and you'll be left alone. Because in this kingdom, we have the absolute right to live without state interference. We absolutely have the right to live without the fear of having a copper put his finger up our bum. We do. We have that God-given right. But we need to put a few things in place to establish that, okay? We need to do our EOLs and EDPs. We need to let them know about the habeas. We need to let them know that they're breaching the constitutional laws and parameters, because the constitutional law restrains old chief constables like this. It put chains around them and it stops them getting into this communistic fascist state. It's the only way we're going to do this, people, is if we all come together under the rule of law and get back this kingdom before it's truly lost. And I don't want to lose England. I don't want to lose the kingdom. And certainly Tom Bingham wouldn't want that, because this man was a constitutionalist. He was a master of the rolls. He was a very decent kind of fella. And what we're living in right now is barbarity and savagery, and the police can't deal with it. So we bring the police back to common law and we go and stand side by side with them at the rule of law and we stop this nonsense going on. That's what we have to do. They're all G4S security. They are. It's disgusting what's going on. Awake and Weld. Yes, question is reclaim our rights. How to take office services still we're looking into. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, the EDP, evidence of life, and ecclesiastical deed poll is solid. It's tight. It's pretty good because there's no presumption there. There is no more presumptions. Well, we thought that's how you wanted it. We thought you wanted to administer our estate. Well, no, the EDP and the evidence of life clearly suggests otherwise. Yes, all companies offer contracts. Yeah. It's disgusting. So, I thought I'd pop in here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We've just come to the top of the hour. And I wanted to bring some stuff to you that will help protect you. The constitutional law will protect you. The state cannot ever, because at that point they commit treason, and none of them are prepared to commit treason. And why would they? But it's up to us to invoke that. It's up to us to say to them, hang on a minute. The Bill of Rights says, the Magna Carta 1217 says, it says, oh, no, we don't go by that no more, you know. Oh, that's so last year. No, sorry, Constable. It says it's written here forevermore. Who the fucking hell are you trying to lie to? All of a sudden, Magna Carta takes on a very different meaning. There was someone quite a few years ago that chucked Magna Carta in their bundle, in their court documents, and the judge and the clerk were going through this bundle, and all of a sudden the clerk said, sir, there's a Magna Carta here. And he says, oh, is it? Let's have a look. The Magna Carta was popped up. He said, right, we best deal with this now then. We better deal with this right here, right now. Because otherwise, habeas corpus comes into play, and then you get the prerogative for it. Makes sense? The Queen has the prerogative right. The woman has a prerogative, right? Oh, it's my prerogative. Yeah? We all have the prerogative because the Queen can't possess a power that you don't, that you didn't place into her. Remember, do you take this woman as your queen? Yes, we do. We could have all said, nah, fuck that. We could have done. We could have said, no. And I'm pretty sure most people now would go, no, thank you. All this adoration, all this false worship, false idling. I'd have a reverence and a respect for these people if they were doing their job. But that's all it would be. It would be a reverence and respect. I wouldn't fucking bow down and fall at their knees and kiss their titties. Not a chance. But we all seem to roll over to this. Oh, they're so powerful. No, they're not. No, whatever gives you that fucking illusion. We're all equal here under the rule of law. So I hope that's brought something to you this afternoon on your Friday afternoons. It's not very nice that day. It's a bit rainy today. I'm having a malign day after me massive migraine last night. So we're going to go and do some bits and bobs. It is Friday after all. Enjoy your weekend. Stay out of trouble. Trust me, avoid London tomorrow if you can. Let the bikers and let the vets take care of it. They seem to want to do it. They're the ones that have got an handle on it. Let them go and do it, because otherwise you're just offering yourself up on the table to be carved up. Now, I'm not in any way, shape or form a coward, not a chance, but I will not offer myself up until the day that we all come together under the rule of law, all nice, smartly dressed, all polite, and we go and take back our country. And we do it by making our public servants go back to the rule of law. And that's all we have to do. It's not difficult. It's not hard. We just have to impress our will on them and say, back to the rule of law, dog shits. Stop attacking us. Stop working for the banks. Back to the rule of law. The coppers back to the rule of law. And this all just, and before I do disappear, you've got no idea how great this country will be again. Just that simple act of you all taking a day out, all go and talk to your friends and families and say, we need to come together. There's this massive groundswell in this country right now. Let me tell you, there's a massive groundswell in this country right now. Normal everyday people that you wouldn't even consider would even be taking an interest in this stuff are proper taking an interest. There's 70 million people. There's a lot out there now paying attention. But we need to come together under the rule of law, a bit like King Alfred when he brought all the kingdoms together under God and he created England and he got rid of all the sectarian stuff of Wessex and all these different areas. And that's what we need to do. We need to galvanise. We need to make sure that we all come together, hundreds of thousands of us, and we all impress that the country needs to be back to the rule of law. And I guarantee you, if we was to come back to this country to the rule of law tomorrow, you'll just see great things happen. Your kids have got bright futures. You've all got bright futures. Your country is going to grow like you've got no tomorrow. We will be proud again. We'll be great again. And we are already great. Make no mistakes about it. We have some beautiful, beautiful people in this country. But we need galvanization. We need just all to come together. Watch this space. I'll be bringing you some stuff over the weekend. I'll be doing some reporting on tomorrow's activities via this medium. So please feel free to tune in, subscribe, hit the bell button for future notifications. And if you've enjoyed an hour of common sense in this critical time, then you're more than welcome to tune in and share it to all your friends and families. The bigger we grow together. I am you, you are me. I love you all. Stay safe, stay blessed. And I'll see you all very, very soon.